Hey, what's going on? So, just doing a short video on Pete Hegseth's warrior culture. Um, and the theme of this one is called "Don't Tell Me I Don't Know What I Do Know," or I'm supposed to say I don't know what I don't know. And so I'm not sure if this is like partially a joke or a reference to like Gates of Fire, the war fighters. We're war fighters, you know. We can go out from anywhere, figure out where it is. When we need to, we figure out how to get the job done. Like a bunch of bullshit, right? And so why isn't this true? Well, this isn't true because in whatever the fucking year was, when you ask about like the role of the modern US military and why it's set up this way, it's set up this way so we can compete. When we had that story in the 1940s where people opened their newspaper and saw we fucking dropped a bomb, and we have pictures of Nagasaki and Hiroshima. The two things you learn from that, well, it's like, well, we've never seen pictures of there being something and then nothing quite like that. And the second thing is this wasn't really related to like, if you have the bombing of Dresden, right? You've got these firebombing, the bombing of London or something. You'd be like, this is horrific. These people got burned alive and it must have been fucking chaos and terrifying. And people had to think about like, well, you would go do this to my family, right? All this crazy shit. And then you have this order of magnitude above that. And so how does this relate to war fighters? Well, if you're an actual war fighter, I would just imagine at some point you sort of have to ask about like the curiosity and, who's leading and all this other shit about these types of events, right? About true suffering and true horror. And the backdrop of this is that over the last 80 years or so, we've developed much better ways and more efficient ways to do things. And people have continuously asked ways that we can sort of bring down more consistent and precise thinking, get the right people involved in stuff, get the right systems and processes called upon. And in some senses, state level actors, like, guys, we got to set each other up for success, or we got to get out of each other's way. We've got to be able to do that. And when we're talking about avoiding these insane instances of death, that's the function of a warfighter. A warfighter carries that responsibility with them. And if you're not, then you're a fucking grunt.